This video contains a truth that has changed the lives of many people. If you are having health problems and have ever felt stuck, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section so we can share useful knowledge together. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you were there? Or maybe you've found yourself rereading the same sentence in a book over and over because it just won't sink in? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and no, it's not just a normal part of aging. It could be something much simpler, something sitting right on your plate. Now, I've been in medicine for over 30 years, and I've seen it time and again. People feeling tired, scattered, forgetful, or just not quite like themselves. Many chalk it up to getting older, but what if I told you that some of that brain fog might be coming from what you're eating? In this video, we're going to talk about 5 everyday foods that sneak their way into many senior diets and quietly cloud the brain. The good news, once you know what they are and how they affect your body, you can start making small changes today that could help lift that mental fog, sharpen your focus, and even brighten your mood. So stick with me, because we're not just talking about food here. We're talking about protecting the most powerful organ in your body, your brain. And before we dive in, if you or someone you love has been dealing with memory problems, mood swings, low energy, or anything that feels off, drop a comment below. Share your story. You never know, your question might be the one that helps someone else. Let's start with a food that's been part of breakfast tables for generations: white bread. Toast, sandwiches, rolls, it's everywhere. But here's the catch: that soft, fluffy white bread that feels so comforting, it's doing your brain no favors. White bread is made from refined flour, which means most of the fiber and nutrients have been stripped away. What's left is basically sugar in disguise. The moment you eat it, it sends your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride. And every time your blood sugar spikes and crashes, your brain feels it. You might feel tired, irritable, foggy. You might even notice your memory slipping more than usual on those days. Now, I'm not saying you can never have bread again, but try swapping that white loaf for something with whole grains. Look for words like 100% whole wheat or sprouted grain on the label. These options give you more fiber, more B vitamins, and a more stable release of energy, and that's good news for your brain. Next, let's talk about a so-called healthy food that's been misleading people for years: fruit juice. I know, it sounds innocent enough. It says 100% real juice on the label. It's got pictures of oranges and apples and grapes. It must be good for you, right? Here's the problem: when you drink fruit juice, you're stripping away all the fiber and just taking in the sugar. And even natural sugar, in large amounts, hits your bloodstream hard and fast again, spiking your blood sugar, just like white bread. But there's more. Over time, high sugar intake has been linked to inflammation in the brain, especially in areas responsible for memory and learning. This kind of inflammation doesn't show up like a swollen knee or a sore throat. It works slowly, quietly, fogging your thoughts, dulling your focus, and draining your energy without you even realizing it. So instead of that glass of orange juice in the morning, try eating the whole fruit. An orange or a handful of grapes will give you the nutrients, plus the fiber your body needs to digest it more slowly. Your brain will thank you for it. Alright, let's move to something that's hiding in plain sight in almost every kitchen: processed deli meats. I know they're convenient. A quick ham sandwich, a turkey wrap, even those little snack packs with meat and cheese, they save time. But here's the problem: most of these meats are loaded with preservatives, sodium, and additives like nitrates. And some of these chemicals have been linked to issues with brain health. Studies suggest that diets high in processed meats can increase the risk of cognitive decline. That doesn't mean one sandwich will hurt you, but over time, if these become your go-to meals, your brain may start to feel the effects. You might feel more sluggish, forgetful, or just off, and not realize it's connected to what you've been eating every day. So what can you do instead? Look for unprocessed options. Roast your own turkey breast at home, or choose meats labeled nitrate-free and minimally processed. Even better, start adding more plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, or nuts into your meals. They're full of nutrients that support a sharp, resilient brain. And don't worry, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. Once you start noticing how food affects your brain, You'll feel empowered to make choices that help you feel better, think clearer, and enjoy your days more fully. Now that we've touched on white bread, fruit juice, and processed meats, 3 foods that often fly under the radar, let's move into another surprising item that's probably in your diet right now. And that item is margarine. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, wasn't margarine supposed to be the healthy alternative to butter? That's what we were told for years. But here's the truth. Many types of margarine, especially the older ones and the cheaper brands still lining store shelves, are packed with trans fats. And trans fats are one of the worst things you can put into your body, especially your brain. These fats can sneak into your system and slowly clog your arteries, reducing the amount of oxygen and nutrients your brain receives. Over time, that means your brain isn't working at full power. You might start to feel sluggish, have trouble concentrating, or find that your memory isn't as sharp as it once was. But here's the more unsettling part. Trans fats have also been linked to increased risk of depression, anxiety, and even Alzheimer's disease. They can trigger inflammation in your brain, which is like static on a radio, making it harder for your brain cells to communicate clearly. So what can you do about it? Check your labels. If you see words like partially hydrogenated oils or shortening, that's a red flag. Instead, go for healthier fats like olive oil, avocado, or even real butter in moderation. These fats not only taste better, but are far more nourishing to your brain and body. And speaking of fats, let's talk about another one that tends to cause more harm than good, especially in older adults. Deep fried foods. French fries, fried chicken, onion rings, even that golden, crispy fish fillet. It's tasty, no doubt. But here's what happens when food is fried in oil, especially repeatedly heated oils, which are common in restaurants and fast food. The process creates compounds that are not only inflammatory, but can directly damage your brain cells. When these harmful compounds accumulate, your brain has to work overtime just to stay balanced. That can leave you feeling foggy, slow, and tired, sometimes within just an hour or 2 after eating. And if fried foods are a regular part of your diet, that fog becomes more persistent. You might start to forget things more often, misplace items, or struggle to focus on a conversation. That's not something to take lightly. Now, I'm not here to tell you never to enjoy your favorite comfort food again, but it's all about moderation and awareness. If fried food is a treat instead of a habit, your brain will be much better off. Better yet, try oven baking, air frying, or grilling for that same satisfying crunch without the brain fogging effects. At this point, you might be wondering, why does food affect the brain so much? Isn't the brain protected by the skull, the blood-brain barrier, all those layers of defense? Yes, it is, but what we put into our bodies travels everywhere. Nutrients or lack of them get into the bloodstream, and everything that reaches your heart also reaches your brain. That's why your diet isn't just about cholesterol or blood sugar. It's also about mood, memory, energy, and even your sense of purpose. I've seen patients in their 70s and 80s transform the way they think and feel just by changing what's on their plate. When you clean up your diet, you don't just live longer, you live clearer, brighter, more you. And it's never too late to start. That's something I say to everyone who walks into my office. Whether you're 68, 78, or 88, it doesn't matter. Your brain wants to heal. It wants to function better. You just have to give it the right tools. Now, I want to say this too: if you're dealing with memory problems, confusion, mood swings, or any type of brain fog, don't just ignore it. Talk to your doctor. And please, feel free to leave a comment down below. Share what you've been feeling. I'm here to help you get real answers, not just blame everything on aging. So far, we've talked about white bread, fruit juice, processed meats, margarine, and fried foods, some of the biggest brain fog culprits hiding in plain sight. And remember, it's not about guilt or fear. It's about awareness and control. You get to decide what you put into your body, and every better choice adds up, one meal at a time. Let's take this journey together. You've already come this far, keep going. Your brain deserves it. Now, there's one more food that I want to talk about. It's one that's so common, it might be sitting in your pantry right now. And it's one of the biggest threats to mental clarity we've yet to cover. And that food is artificial sweeteners, specifically aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium, to name a few. Now, these sweeteners are marketed as smart alternatives to sugar, 0 calories, diabetic friendly, and even brain healthy by some standards. But here's what the research is starting to show. Especially in older adults, the brain doesn't respond well to artificial substitutes. In fact, they may be doing more harm than good. Aspartame, for instance, breaks down into substances like phenylalanine, aspartic acid, and methanol, which, in certain concentrations, can interfere with neurotransmitters. What does that mean in plain English? It means your brain's natural communication system, the one that controls memory, focus, and mood, gets disrupted. That's when brain fog creeps in. You feel spaced out, tired, maybe even a little anxious or irritable. Some studies suggest a possible connection between artificial sweeteners and a higher risk of cognitive decline, stroke, and even depression, particularly in people over 60. Here's the real kicker. These sweeteners confuse your brain. They're sweet but provide no calories, so your brain thinks sugar is coming, prepares for it, and then nothing. That mismatch can alter your appetite hormones, disrupt your metabolism, and create cravings that lead to overeating. Not exactly the diet benefit we were promised. So what should you do? Try to wean off artificial sweeteners gradually. If you're using them in coffee or tea, reduce the amount day by day. Instead of diet soda, try sparkling water with a splash of lemon or mint. And if you need to sweeten something, consider natural alternatives like stevia, monk fruit, or just a touch of raw honey, always in moderation. The point here is not to live in fear of your food, it's to live in awareness of it. Let's recap the 5 brain-fogging foods we've covered. White bread and refined carbs spikes blood sugar and drains mental clarity. Fruit juice strips fiber and overloads the brain with sugar. Processed meats filled with nitrates and chemicals that harm memory. Margarine and trans fats promote inflammation and slow cognitive function. Artificial sweeteners disrupt brain chemistry and may increase cognitive risk. These foods aren't just hurting your waistline or your blood pressure. They're silently undermining your brain. But here's the good news. Your brain is resilient. When you remove these harmful foods and replace them with brain-supportive options like whole grains, leafy greens, berries, nuts, fish, and healthy fats, you can actually reverse some of the fog, fatigue, and forgetfulness you've been feeling. It won't happen overnight, but even one smart change today can lay the foundation for clearer thinking tomorrow. So here's what I'd like you to do next. Look at what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. Is there white bread, juice, margarine? Pick just one of those items and swap it for something brain-friendly. Then, come back here and tell me how it made you feel. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your story. And if this video helped you understand your brain just a little better, please share it with a friend or loved one, especially someone who's been struggling with memory or energy. It could change their life. Until next time, take care of your body, protect your brain, and keep living fully no matter your age.